Hi, I'm Randy Robison. So glad to have Dr. Emerson Eggerichs back with us. He's got a new book called Before You Hit Send, and you guys already know where we're going with this. Good to have you.
Thank you, Randy.
So I want to get right into this because you just nailed one of my pet peeves, because you look at four different things. And the first two things you look at, and just to lay down the foundation, we're talking about communication, not just online, but largely online, social media, but these principles go into any communication. But you say the first two things you got, is it true? Okay, so is what we're saying true? Which we know, obviously, it's not good to spread lies. But then you say, is it kind? And so there's this phrase pops. I got four kids that are all adults, 18 to 23, right? There's this phrase I hear in that generation all the time. I'm not gonna lie. And usually that means I'm about to be mean, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So help me out here. We can be truthful and still be kind, can we not?
Well, I think there's a verse, is there not? Ephesians 4 talks about speak the truth in love. And somehow we have this idea that we can ignore maybe that second part. So if we say, I'm just going to be truthful with you, or I'm not going to lie to you. And the question is, what does that mean? Does that mean that what I'm about to do is club you with something, and I'm not delivering it in a way that's winsome? You know, people hear your words, but they hear the truth, we might say, but they feel your kindness. And it's more than just content. People have to know that we care about them. And we kind of define kindness as loving and respectful. Is this that I'm about to say going to sound loving to them? Is it going to sound respectful? Because if it sounds hostile, if it sounds contemptuous, they ain't going to hear us.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it. Just read the comments on anything. The disrespect is off the charts. Where does this come from?
Correct. Well, and that's one of the questions we're asking. I think that's why HarperCollins asked me to write this book, Before You Hit Send, because I think there's this clear recognition. Most of us under 40 who are, texting and into the whole digital communication, there is an epidemic. There's a problem. We're losing civility, and the question is, what does that mean, and does it matter? And when we talk about in the book the four questions that I need to ask: is it true? Is it kind? Is that what I'm about to say? Is it going to be true? Is it going to be kind? Is it necessary? And is it clear? And the whole point of the book is we've got to think before we speak, and we all know that. But sometimes we need to revisit the fundamentals. Vince Lombardi, coach of the Green Bay Packers, decided that he needed to start each football season at the practice first day with the fundamentals, and he'd stand there and say, "Gentlemen, this is a football." Right? I mean, you can't get much more basic than that. Yet one of the linemen in the story says, "Hey, coach, can you go a little slower?"
It's good.
I think the point is, we learned at age 4, think before you speak. And what we're saying, hey, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it clear? And that isn't rocket science. But in the heat of the moment, when we're upset about something, when we feel hurt, when we feel offended, when we feel, frustrated by people, particularly in the social media where somebody is communicating something that's contrary to our convictions, what we believe, what has caused us to come to a point in the culture where we don't think that we should be gracious in response, that we can react that way? And the question on the table is, will that really be effective? I was talking to somebody the other day, so you're really not telling us to shut up. You're really saying you need to apply this in order to really be heard.
Well, that's good.
I thought it was very good. I said, you captured exactly what it is I am trying to say. It's not a matter. In fact, I say if it's true, if it's kind, if it's necessary, it's clear, hit send, speak it. Most people lack courage, or once they get the courage, they end up doing, I'm not going to lie to you. And then they whack. And we've got to develop this ability to believe that if I'm kind, loving, respectful, that I'm not going to lose power, that the truth is not going to be heard, that you're delivering in a way that will be more winsome. But somehow, and the question I would have of you is, how did we get to a point where this kind of hostility and contempt seems to be spilling out, and what, in your estimation, is prompting all of this? Do you have some thoughts on it?
I think that what started out as the seeming anonymity in the internet And then just the buffer between human and me, right?
Yep.
Me and the keyboard, I think has brought out actually a lot of truth in people, true nature in the sense.
Yes, true nature.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the great insights that we have to ask ourselves, and one of the points I'm making in the book is social media means it's social, and World Wide Web means it's worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And that there isn't any real delete capability now with technology.
We're learning that the hard way.
And so if I live next to you over the fence, I'm going to be more, I think, aware of the fact that I probably should be more loving, kind, because we're neighbors.
Sure.
But if I'm in LA and you're in New York and you say something I don't like, I'm never going to see you. So somehow the anonymity that you're talking about has given me license to spew it out. Now the question on the table is, does that matter? And I think there are a whole lot of people in the culture saying it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I can bully my way through, I can shout, I can scream.
Well, they've probably done it and not had to pay any consequences yet.
Yes, that's the question on the table. Can we violate these principles of true, kind, necessary, and clear, and have a reputation and be viewed as trustworthy, be viewed as competent, to be persuasive?
Yeah. Will
people even hear us? And does it even matter to us that we're heard? Years ago when I was in college, I first heard those first three questions, and they were attributed to Socrates. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And I added clear, because I thought I was doing those first three, but people were still confused, and it's because I wasn't communicating well.
Yeah.
But when I heard those, Randy, I realized there was one of those moments where, you just realize that will prevent me from really having a lot of headaches and heartaches. I may not be the best of communicators, but it'll give me a guideline, a quick checklist to prevent me from, saying things that I ought not to say.
Yeah.
And over the years, since I've been in my 20s, I've asked, is this true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And then later on with that clear. And that has been such a helpful, quick checklist. Mm-hmm. And there are many people, Seth Gooden and others out there saying, look, every time you write an email, you need to ask yourself, is your boss going to see this? Is this going to be brought before the Attorney General? In the political arena, I open up the book with this quote, great quote, dance like no one's watching, but write an email as though you're going to be under a deposition.
Or on the evening news. And I think the common person thinks, I'm not a politician, I don't run my own company, But I think we've seen in the last several years cases where people that thought maybe I was just talking to you or my group of friends or posting for a small group, and it gets picked up. And everybody sees it, and now, I can't go to college.
Yes.
Or I can't get a job because I've been branded as this person because of this one word that I used, and what I thought was kind of private online communication.
Yeah. Well, I just had a person say to me about a half hour ago that they've got a friend who is a business individual that has a business, and they will check people's Facebooks as part of the hiring process.
Oh, absolutely, that's done. Yeah.
And so there is this interpretation based on how this person is, because Jesus said the mouth speaks out of that which fills the heart.
That's right.
So if I'm spewing out stuff through the social media, and somehow because there's anonymity, or because I'm really not an important person, I'm saying to people, you are important. You're very important.
You're important
you are
to
an
you,
important
at least.
individual. But even if you think you're not important, then you want to go get a job somewhere.
Right.
Some people don't connect the dots. They don't realize that what you say in these settings, there was a woman who applied to Cisco, and she lived 45 miles away, and she was complaining in her social media, now I got this job at Cisco and I'm going to have to drive all that way just to get a paycheck kind of thing. Immediately got an email, this is an employee at Cisco, we are adept on the internet, would you please tell me who your manager is who hired you? And they didn't get the job. They didn't
I wouldn't
get the
hire
job.
him either.
That's right.
I wouldn't hire me.
And so I say to the person who thinks there's anonymity and I'm really not important, I'm not a CEO, no, you are a precious human being, and your words matter, and you owe it to yourself to ask, is that which I'm about to say true, kind, necessary, or clear?
Do yourself a huge favor before you hit send. Read this book. What's your website for it?
loveandrespect.com, loveandrespect.com.
A website we've heard before, but just as true as ever, and not just in the online world, but throughout everything you do. Appreciate you being here. If you want to hear more from Dr. Emerson Eggerichs, if I can say Eggerichs correctly, you have a tough last name.
You did good.
You can see him on the broadcast show of Life Today, lifetoday.org. Thank you for watching and sharing this interview. Be sure to check out the social media for Life Today Television, and you can connect with me on Facebook and Twitter. And if you haven't already subscribed or followed this channel, do it now so you can see more of our great guests.